Abundance Universe podcast, and I am here with an amazing special guest. Today we have my good friend Sam Borghese. Sam, how you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on here. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So Sam is an amazing entrepreneur, also a creative, somebody I actually met in the Web3 space at an NFT event. And Sam runs his own hedge fund. He's also an economics professor at UCLA. He also hosts a bunch of really fun events that bring awesome creators, entrepreneurs, and just cool, fun people together, high vibrational people.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he does a lot of other cool things, but I wanted to bring Sam on today just to introduce him to you, to my audience, and also to learn more about what he does and just get into a little bit of some of the interesting things that he has going on, because he's doing a lot to create opportunities for other people and spreading knowledge, spreading awareness, education around a lot of important things. So, Sam, thank you for joining us today. Can you tell us just a little bit about who you are, maybe just a little bit about your background, what you do, and why you do it?
Yeah, sure. Well, I was born June 16th. No, I'm kidding.
That's cool. I'm a Gemini too.
I am a Gemini. Yeah. Which I
June 8th.
Oh, happy birthday. Should do a joint.
Likewise. We should definitely have a party.
I grew up in Los Angeles. And then I think I was born with maybe not a super intelligence, but a super drive to learn, and just love learning, love mathematics, love learning how things work, right? Understanding how things work. And now I teach economics, and economics was founded by this guy, Adam Smith. He wanted to put equations to morality, right? He wanted to figure out why people act the way they do based on certain morals, and it must be able to be predicted and so forth. So I always found, the ability to try to predict how human behavior, society, or whatever it may be, very, very interesting. So, that led me down the path of math and econ and so forth. I actually did the typical crypto route and dropped out of school for 2 years in undergrad. Ended up going back because I just knew that's where I could best be used, right? Utilized and so forth. And because I dropped out, I was actually managing some musicians, things like that out here in LA, and just realized maybe a greater calling was in line with mathematics. But I was always highly social and so forth. And I could have a person sitting next to me, and even if we're not speaking, I will be twice as productive. Just the energy of other people around me just brings me up so much, right? So anyway, I end up finishing grad school, so forth. And I just kept asking the question of, what do you need, right? What do people need? And so forth. I got connected with this guy, Aaron Tornell, and, he hired me as a researcher. I'd put in 2 hours for every hour I got paid pretty much, and just went above and beyond, really just trying to help people with what they needed and so forth. Anyway, led me down a path. I got hired as an experiment at UCLA, right, in the economics department.
You got hired as an experiment. Talk about that real quick.
I would say it was an experiment because I got hired as full-time faculty at 23. Right. I'm actually not even the youngest professor. There was an 18-year-old professor hired at UCLA. Yeah.
What do they teach?
Math, of course.
Wow.
Because you can go pretty fast up in the math track.
Wow.
So yeah, they hired me as an experiment because they wanted me to teach sort of concepts that are new, that are going to help people in the world. Right. Academia, maybe I can't speak on it too much, but I think we all know it's becoming more and more broken because it is not dynamic. It's slow moving, right? Topics being taught in universities do not move fast. So they brought me in. I started designing courses. They received amazing feedback. They pretty much said, whatever you want to teach, go for it because you know better. And that led me to teaching the first blockchain course in the economics department, first cloud computing, right? All of this. So that's sort of my academic path. But I met Bijan outside.
So now, right, we were outside with it. But now today you teach blockchain. Blockchain for a lot of people is a confusing concept if they're not already in the crypto space. I think there's a good majority of the world that's still very
Yeah.
confused and maybe even put off by crypto and the term blockchain. How
So
did UCLA become so open and adopting of cryptocurrency and blockchain to the point where they have courses about it and are doing meetups and all kind of things and allowing you to bring the culture of Web3
yeah.
into a traditionally Web2 institution? How did that work? Can you talk about just their openness to bringing you on? Did you have to have conversations with multiple people, and at what level? And
Mm.
how is the adoption now that you're doing it?
Yeah, which I'll say, if it wasn't for me pushing it, it probably wouldn't have gone into the economics department as soon as it did. Really, the fact I introduced all these other technologies, some cloud machine learning systems from AWS, right? Students learning that and being like, wow, I can take this. And in my interviews, I tell them I built something that will, automate, will accelerate this company so much. It just showed that sort of this new coursework I was creating is the market is hungry for it. It's really hungry for people with these skills and so forth. So, the blockchain was a natural progression. I'd been in crypto, I'd been aware of the math behind the blockchain and elliptic curve cryptography before I even owned crypto and so forth. So I was pretty deep rooted inside of the tech. It became very obvious to, push that agenda, if you want to call it, on these students as well, because there's a lot of misconceptions, as you're talking about, surrounding blockchain, particularly because it is you could say it's a high scam environment, but where is also a high scam environment is the internet in general, right? So there's scams all over the internet. There's phishing within your emails and so forth. So when people get burned, they hate everything about something.
But a lot of that is because there's a lack of education, right? If there was more, of course, more security, but just more education around what it was, I think we'll have more good actors instead of bad actors. And I think what you've done is created a pathway in that direction. You've definitely created a pathway for the adoption of cryptocurrency and blockchain at a level that's already trusted, which is the institutional level, and allowing people to explore and understand how this technology can be used for other solutions that are not illegal or are not black market, but are actually promoting education and helping with global healthcare and helping with the food crisis. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that NFT and blockchains can be utilized. So kudos to you for making that happen and helping to shine a light on the future for some of the folks in the institution.
Yeah. And it's, it's really interesting because a lot of people say education is the way, to sort of eliminate scams and so forth. And there's a lot of truth to that. But I believe also technology is the way to sort of make things a better world and so forth. Because, why are laptops so easy to use now? Why is everything in our world? Why can I, yell for Alexa to turn on the lights and all of this, making life easier? It's not that I'm more educated about the underlying system of any of this technology, right? It's the technology actually got better and made it so there's a safe lock, payment transaction and so forth. So, I'm really excited about the technology solutions that's going to enable everyone to essentially tap into this technology without the risk of scam, or I guess mitigating the risk of scam and so forth. Because let's be real, my parents, grandparents, people of those generations, I speak to a lot of them and they go, I'm glad I'll never have to learn about this stuff because it is confusing. I don't want to, right? And so forth. So really, I'm excited about the technology even surpassing the need for education in this space. And I'm working on something related to that as well.
That's exciting. Well, we'd be happy to hear about whatever we can share. And it kind of opens me up to my next question, Zeal Reserve. Talk to us about Zeal Reserve, and is Zeal Reserve utilizing blockchain, cryptocurrency, any kind of Web3 methods to help you all serve the people that you're serving with Zeal Reserve? And just let people know exactly what that is and how people can get involved with you too.
Yeah. So, in that same vein is I'm trying to create, or I'm creating, right? Because we're doing it, creating technologies that sort of bring a a nature that people are familiar with, right, to blockchain and to crypto. So that was the idea behind Zeal Reserve, which is a cryptocurrency hedge fund. We wanted to build something that has a similar feel, where the SEC is aware of us. We're exempt reporting advisors, the state of California. We have all these licenses. It's, something that can be trusted and you can be confident in when investing into crypto, compared to I'm sending some money somewhere and I don't know where it's going and so forth, right? So that's bringing like a really traditional feel to investing in crypto and so forth. If you want to learn more, you can go to zealreserve.com. Also on, YouTube, we have a series of videos of different panels and some webinars we've done in the past.
And we'll link that in the show notes in the description as well, for sure. So you talked about videos just now. What do you think about video and the importance in video when it comes to communicating value and making sure that we can give our customers what they need?
Yeah. So me personally, I am a visual learner. I think most people are. And once again, we're all types of learners, but I have YouTube going in the background, just pretty much learning about all sorts of topics, everything from biohacking to weather systems and whatever it is. That's, actually my preferred method of learning is just via video, via images, via diagrams, right? It's just the easiest way for me to consume content and so forth. And so I'm really looking forward in the future. We sort of have text AI generation down. Video AI generation is going to go down as well. So on top of this video, we could have a visual setup that's a lot more engaging than us just sitting here and talk here, right? And the words I'm saying are actually generating some images or some diagrams like those. It's kind of a gimmicky infomercial at this point where they say, give us your video content and we'll have somebody draw it, right? I'm sure everybody has seen those drawing videos and so forth. So I think the technology is really going to empower the ability to automatically create graphics and automatically create short form content as well, right? That people are working on that as well. You take this whole podcast, put it into a generator, it'll output multiple forms of short form content that can be distributed and so forth. So I think video is the future. Talking about AI automation and so forth. I think teachers are probably one of the first to go, right? Because imagine having a video assistant, right? A tutor that actually knows the best way for you to learn, knows whether you learn through anecdotes or something like this, can actually stop with you and go through it again and again and again until you get it, or can just move on and keep going, right? The AI digital teacher, I think will be one of the biggest revolutions inside of education, and that will be, video based as well. So
I agree 100%. And the reason I ask is because I think it's one of the best ways to educate. As We Uplift the World Foundation, that's something that we teach young students. We actually look at video as a second language.
Yeah.
When I was in school, we had to learn French or Spanish or German. You had to choose a language, and that was like a mandate. It was a prerequisite that you had to take. I think these days video should be a prerequisite for all students. And with the We Uplift the World Foundation, we teach students how to make videos with their smartphones in partnership with Apple and Shure. We've done many projects and programs to get students more comfortable with public speaking and communicating on video as just the primary means of showing themselves to the world and representing them in their business as creative entrepreneurs. And I think it's awesome that Zeal Reserve is making videos available, because to me, whenever I want to understand something quickly and efficiently in the most direct terms, I want to hear somebody speak to me and explain it to me. And a lot of hedge funds might just have a website with a bunch of text and PDFs, which some people might love to read. But these days, if you can communicate high level topics on a very direct video level, you're always going to have more success, and people are going to be able to understand the value much quicker, which I think is what we all want.
Which I will note, we're operating on an exemption that allows us to publicly advertise. We saw that as well. We said most hedge funds, they just have a blank web page. It's because they legally can't even have business cards to hand out, right, for advertising. So it's interesting. But We Uplift the World. That's amazing. We really wanted want currently to do something for younger students, right? Bringing them up, because I have a 7-year-old half brother. This is the time you can influence, all of their decision making, all of their habits, all of their interests, and so forth. What age kids are you doing We Uplift with?
Well, we work with elementary, middle school, and high school students. We have different programs for all of them. We do in-school and after-school programs, and we're actually doing a project right now called the Earth Project, which is Earth with a capital ART, where we're teaching sustainability and health through the lens of art, filmmaking, and personal branding lessons for students to kind of get them ready to represent themselves in the world. And also, we teach students to know what they want, know what they love, and how to find a purpose and hone in on who they are instead of being so outwardly focused. Because you and I talked about this earlier, but we really are big on creating over consuming. And that's something we teach all of our students as well, is let's be a creator. Let's get you set up. You can do whatever you want. Just do it, you know? So that's the energy. And we definitely want to partner with you to do some things with the students. So we can make it happen. We work with a lot of different schools and Native American reservations and kids all over the world. So I'm
definitely
excited, man.
Need that in my little brother's school.
Right. And we need students and young kids to see you. They need to see you and know that they can be like you when they grow up, because the media is not showing them that you are an example of massive success and you're actually really uplifting the world. That's another reason I'm glad we had you on the podcast, because I want more of the world to know the amazing things that you're doing. And students of any age can aspire to be like you and do some of the things that you're doing, because you're helping a lot of people.
Gen Alpha, I forget the exact percentage, but I think it's the majority percentage of kids in Gen Alpha want to be an influencer, right? Because that's the only success or the main success they're exposed to, right? They're not seeing how they can actually impact or influence the world like you're doing as well. You need to I guess you are getting in front of these kids, right? They need to see that, a big bulk of the most influential people are not influencers, right? So
that's a good point. The real influencers influence the influencers that people see.
Exactly. Right? They're building the stuff behind.
Exactly. And they're followed by the mainstream influencers. You got to look at who follows who. I think it's so important to not look at how many followers somebody has, but who's following that person. Who trusts that person, who listens to that person, who values their value. And if you value the same things as that individual, then maybe there's alignment there and you guys can sync up and do something great. I mean, that's how we met,
Yeah, literally, yeah, which we'll talk about at my event. The other day I met somebody and they just sent me a deck and, talking about this, who follows you, who backs you, who supports you, who will vouch, who will go to vouch and bat for you. He sent me a deck and all of the team, and there was no advisor page, was just him. It was just one person. And I said, wow. I've heard VCs say, if there's not a page of advisors, we won't even look at the deck. Because if you can't find some people to vouch for you, how are we going to be able to trust you? Right? You can't, right? The personal relationships it's very powerful. It's very true.
Absolutely, man. So let's talk about that real quick. You hosted an amazing event. It was at UCLA and it was for entrepreneurs, startup founders, people trying to create something in the world of value that can help other people. And you had 3 amazing panelists who are all doing big things in the VC space. And they all dropped gems. They all dropped some amazing bits of information for all of us in this space. One of the things that I love the most that was talked about is just knowing our market and knowing what we serve, knowing the value we provide and being able to tell that story. And being able to, that all goes back to communication. That's one of the things we talk about with the students. Talking on video or just recording videos of yourself actually helps you when you're communicating value. And people don't understand that that's going to be necessary no matter what career you're in. You're going to need to communicate value, whether you're an entrepreneur or not. And I think it's really awesome that there was an emphasis on that and just in the communication piece, not just having a great product, not just having great ads, but are you making sure that you're talking to your people directly and communicating that efficiently? And that's hugely important. There was so many other gems dropped. What were some of your favorite highlights from the VC event that you hosted?
Yeah, it was really cool. I really liked how, you know, you have Google Ventures, you have all these big VCs, and they said, you know, somebody said, how do I make my product stand out from these other ones? You know, I want my company to stand out. I want it to be different. How do I do that? And they pretty much said, the best founders we have, don't worry about that. Right? What we look for is optimism in a founder, and I forget, it was like optimism and passion, right? It was like two you know, intangible skills essentially. That's all they look
Right.
for in a founder when investing in the company, because, you know, anyone can pivot, right? You can say, oh my God, you know, we got sued, we did this, or whatever. You got to move, you got to be nimble. But really what's going to keep the product going is the optimism and the resilience of the founder. So I just thought that was so interesting that you have these three big VCs there, and somebody says, how do I differentiate my product? And nobody says, oh, it's a marketing tactic, right? They say, really, it's about the underlying founder, and it's about these skills that you are starting to build inside of these kids very early on, right? The ability to communicate what's inside of them, the ability to be confident about some feeling or emotion they have, right? The ability to do that. So, you know, once again, I commend you for actually trying to teach the real traits people are looking for in this world, right? To the younger generation, rather than
Thank you, man.
it's not
It's the
useful.
stuff they don't teach us in school, man, at a young age, and that's exactly why I created We Uplift the World. It's about me understanding that everything that I have and all the knowledge is because other people who cared to share and who cared about making a difference in my life. So it's not a me thing, it's a we thing. I'm an amalgamation of all the good information and spiritual information and technical information, people information, love information, just an amalgamation of all the good data put into a person. And I wanted to take that idea and that concept and build a company around it, which is We Uplift the World. It's you, it's me, it's the dreamers, the believers, the doers coming together to create something that can benefit other people. So we'll definitely do that, because that's, to me, what it's all about, man. And that brings me to my question for you, Sam. What is your why? Why do you do what you do? What's your big why?
Dude, it's, you know, it's hard, and it changes. It changes over time. You know, I know you're supposed to have it undeniably, just go after that and so forth. But I think my why is I don't feel good about life, myself inside of me, if I'm not trying to do the most every day. You know what I'm saying? So no matter what it is, I just try to do the most and the best every day. And I know the why for people is typically it's a big thing, but I just try to live day to day, essentially, because future tripping or living in the past and all of this stuff, it really it puts me in an unstable place, rather than just trying to focus, really drop in with people, and be present day to day, because I don't know why. You know what I mean? I don't know why we're here. I don't know why any of this. So I just try to do the most and be the best I can every day. Right?
That's a real abundance mentality, man. That's excellent. Did you always operate that way, or did you change?
Uh,
I know I'm way different than I used to be. I didn't always have the abundance mentality, but for you, I feel like that's the way to be. You want to get the most out of life. You want to use your talents to the max
yeah.
every single day. But were you always that way, or did you
No.
use any tools to help get you to where you are now?
Stuff is very dynamic. So like I was saying, I like to learn, and I like to learn. I'll watch a rebuttal and a rebuttal to a rebuttal and a rebuttal to a rebuttal to a rebuttal, right? If I don't understand something, or if I feel like I really understand something, I want to know the other side so well to really set me down. So anyway, everybody's talking about manifestation. I go, it sounded like BS to me. And I was curious, and I said, I need to learn about this, because my initial, my initial thought is I want to learn about something I don't understand. Right. So I remember I look up like the top book for that or whatever. And it was The Secret, right? Everybody heard of that book and so forth. So I buy it. It was sitting on my shelf. It was maybe 4 books down. I didn't get to it, but I was reading it so I would know that it was BS, right? Type situation. And then met this
Wanted to
guy.
prove it wrong. He's like,
Prove it wrong. You know,
let's
you
get
got
this to prove it that it doesn't work.
Exactly. I want to understand it so well that I know it doesn't work, right?
And I had the similar mindset, by the way, when I first got into this, but please continue.
Your first
Thank you
started,
for sharing this.
And I met this guy, Jerry Shamalis, and it was actually at a memorial, but I met this guy, Jerry Shamalis. He goes, come over to my house. And this guy, Jerry Shamalis, he was a intravenous heroin user at the age of 25. He lived in a 1-bedroom apartment. He was maybe 300 pounds, suicidal, just nothing to live for, right? And essentially he discovered the teachings of Napoleon Hill and a couple other people. And when I went to go meet him, I met him at his house in Brentwood Park that, you know, was the neighboring house to where OJ lived right before all that happened. And he had just finished producing a De Niro and Scorsese film and, you know, exited his company where he was mainly focused on just giving people an opportunity, giving all people an opportunity for a job. He thought, you know, providing somebody with work and purpose was, you know, one of the best things you could do for somebody on this earth. And he was just filled with sheer positivity. You could not shake this man's positivity. And I said, you know, if this guy believes in manifestation, abundance mentality, right? All of these things, teachings of Napoleon Hill and Emmett Fox and so forth. If he believes in this and he was able to go from where he was to where he is now, I will believe this on blind faith. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to do what this guy tells me because
you saw the proof, made you a believer.
Saw the proof, right? It's, you know, if you want what somebody has, you do what they do. And I remember somebody asked me, I was out in Joshua Tree a couple weeks ago, and somebody said, you know, could you give advice to that 19-year-old over there? Could you go talk to him? And I just told him, I said, you can have anything you want in your life. You can have literally anything you want. There's no limit to what you want in your life. The only thing is the bigger it is, the more work it's going to take. And 2, the bigger it is, and you need to have unwavering belief that it is coming to you. The only thing you have to do is have unwavering, undeniable belief that it's coming to you. And he said, I don't know. Imagine that. Somebody comes to you and they said, you can have anything you want in the world. All you got to do is believe it. And you go,
yeah.
I don't know about that. You know, hey, what's the risk? What
right.
is the risk with going down that path, right?
Right. And then when you see it, you know, that's the thing. It's one thing to hear it. It's another thing to see it. It's another thing to feel it. You know, I've felt abundance from people who were abundant before I even knew what they had in the physical. You found out after the fact that they're actually materially abundant, but I energetically can feel people's abundance as well because it's a spirit we carry. You know, we got to understand we are all made of energy. We all are made of light, and we're moving at a high or medium high or different frequency. We're all at different frequencies in terms of how fast our atoms are moving, which creates an energy field within us and outside of us, an aura. And I didn't really understand this until I started training my brain to unlearn all the wrong that I had learned. And I went into a phase where I was reading all Napoleon Hill, all of the Rhonda Byrne, all of the Bob Proctor, you know, and really getting into my spiritual bag, understanding just more about who I am, understanding God more, reading the Bible, but also reading the Bhagavad Gita and understanding different, Paramahansa Yogananda and different teachers who spoke about peace and positivity just in a way that was different from what I was normally used to, but it expanded my mind and it created fertile soil for this idea that life is actually supposed to be good and positive.
Yes.
Coming up, I had a very skeptical outlook on things and would always assume the worst and Murphy's Law and whatever can go wrong will go wrong and F my life. And I'm just trying to get up and make the most out of the day. But it's like, nah, man, this is a great day. It's a blessing. We can literally, like you said, do anything we want. Let me get up and make a decision, man. Let's go.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And you're saying we're full of energy. We are energy. We are so much energy because, right, I had to bring it back. Einstein, energy equals mass, E equals mc squared. E equals, energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. The speed of light is a really big number. It's a really big, it's 186,000 miles per second. Miles per second. It's like 7 times around the world in a second, right? So E equals mc squared. Your energy is your mass times the speed of light, right? Atom bombs come from a small amount of atoms, right? To release all of that energy. So it's like we have an untapped potential inside of ourselves.
Yes, man. I'm loving this. This is opening us up into a great topic because some people think that the mind work, just talking about abundance, is just about saying things, but it's about understanding how this is all connected and how we are all connected. And on a quantum physics level, we can speak things into existence, and our words can create mass. Our thoughts actually have mass as well. Physical mass. So, I really love this science, and it just opened me up to be more positive and optimistic and open-minded, because I don't wake up every day thinking that the world is against me and that everything is going to have to be a challenge. And that's how life is. So yeah, man, I'm glad we made the shift, and we're doing things to help other people just expand their quality of life. It's really important. So I want to ask you this, Sam. We've talked about a lot, right? But what would you say if you had to give a definition, like a 1-sentence definition of abundance? What does abundance mean to you?
I would say it is the belief that helping others does not take away from yourself. That's what I would say. And
that's big. Yeah, please elaborate on that. The belief that helping others does not take away from yourself. That runs deep. Can you please?
Because I was hearing people talk about it the other day about how they have to like force themselves to be kind and compassionate. And, I think that comes from a place of scarcity, right? That's a scarcity mindset. It goes, if I don't want to be kind and compassionate towards something, it's because it's a feeling of like, oh, I need to save that for myself, or I need to save that for somebody else. But if you have an abundance mindset where it goes, if I try to help somebody else, it's actually going to lead to everyone being helped, right? It's going to uplift everyone around me. The ripple effect goes out and it will eventually come back to me. Then you become very trying to help everyone in if you actually think about it, a selfish way. Because you go, by helping this person, it's going to make me feel better. It's going to eventually uplift everything and bring me up. And, that gets to sort of the metaphysical conversation. Is there any true altruism? Right? You go and volunteer for 5 hours. Was it really altruistic? Because you feel great. Right? You know what I mean? You do backbreaking.
That's true.
So anyway, that's a whole nother, Mother Teresa might be altruistic, but she's also Mother Teresa. She's like bigger than life. She's right, one of the most famous people. But anyway, I noticed it in my life. I will say almost everything I have was from asking this simple question at networking events and so forth. What do you need? Asking somebody else, what do you need? And if I have exposure to giving them something they need, it will only bring everything up. And, that's sort of how my foray into events spiraled as well, right? I wanted to throw a networking event for people at my house and just started trying to provide. That spiraled into, having sponsors. I had to not do it at my house. I had to go do it at a venue with 300 people. And that was a founder investor meetup, right? That was just connecting founders and investors with us gaining literally nothing from it. other than just bringing these people together, 300 people. And then, the next day, A16Z, they asked if we could do the opening event for LA Tech Week last year. And then, that just kept going. You're trying, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? So that's really what abundance means to me, or that's the long explanation of that, 5-word sentence I gave.
That's really good. And I'm really glad that you gave that, because we have to understand that this world is all about other people.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that we want for ourselves is going to come from other people.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that at first. I had a mentality when I was growing up, and maybe this is just from listening to music and watching pop culture, but I thought that money just would happen. You either just make money one day or you don't. I thought when I grow up, everybody's going to have a 6-pack and you can pick what kind of car you want. It's like when you grow up, it's like that was kind of the understanding of the world. And as you get older, you realize, oh, that's not how the world works. People make different decisions, and I can choose to do this or that. And people's decisions lead to their outcomes and the kind of life that they live. But yeah, having that understanding and realization as an adult, and knowing that kind of the way I learned the world worked, not actually how it works. And also the way I learned about work is not how work has to be either. Maybe we can talk about that for a second, because you take me as somebody who loves what they do. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so.
In a way, I feel like you're living in your purpose. You're living in your skill set. I mean, you told me you're great at math and you're not somewhere, driving a train. You're a math teacher. You're doing math, right? You're doing something that allows you to apply what you love. You're doing blockchain. You have a hedge fund, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
You're helping people. So it's like you're doing something on brand for yourself. But yeah, man, talk about that for a second. Just being in a position where you're doing something that you can use your skills for, and you created this path for yourself. You're not just taking whatever life gives you. But some people may feel like they have to do that, or some people may feel stuck. Can you talk about, just real quick, how you created your own path, and any advice for people who may want to go on a similar path as you, or just do big things like you're doing?
It's tough because people go, the comments say, just do what you love, right? Just do what you love, and then eventually everything will come to you. And so many people go, no, I just can't do it. I can't, right? And so forth. But something I realized, it's like, if you stick with something and you just show up and just do it over and over and over again, within a few years, you're going to be an expert in that space. Like, no matter what it is, you're going to become an expert as long as you are showing up and you're giving it your all, right? You're giving it your all, and you drive yourself until you go home and your head hits the pillow and you're out. You know what I mean? Because you gave the day its all, and so forth. So all I would say, how I carved my path, I just kept doing things I like to do, right? Over and over again, things that were interesting and really cool to me, and just kept pushing. And then, that gets me to a place where, not every aspect of work is amazing, but it's almost like a self-sacrifice thing where it's like every piece of it feels good because I know it's just pushing me forward. Right?
I like that. I like that you said that. You touched on something important. Like, you're doing what you love. You're in the right field. You're in the right industry, and you did the work to align with that. However, it's not like every single aspect of what you do is something that you absolutely love.
You got
I
to
know
push
for
through
me,
it, yeah.
I do things every day that I don't enjoy doing,
Yeah.
but the why I'm doing it, I love the why.
Yeah.
I love the reason. And I had a point in my life when I was working in different jobs for different companies, and I didn't love my why. I was like, I'm good at this work. I'm getting paid. I might even be making 6 figures, which is technically a great job. It's a blessing. However, I don't love this work. I don't know why I'm doing this every day. And it's going to be the same job every day if I choose to show up. I need something different. And I need something different because I feel a calling within me, within my spirit, that my energy, my skills, and my talent should be being used for something different. Right. So I was able to take those skills and apply them to something different. But answering the call and showing up every day, no matter how we feel and how much we don't want to do it or do want to do it, if we know that this particular activity or thing or showing up in this way is going to get us the results that we love, then the activity, we got to show up and do it, even if we don't love it, because of the why. It's got to be about the why. And that's why I always come back to that. That's so important. I
So
appreciate you touching on that, man. Well, this has been a really great conversation. I just want to thank you, man, for making the time. I understand you're super busy. You're uplifting a lot of people. You're uplifting the whole world. And I really appreciate you for making time on your schedule to have this conversation. It's going to uplift people for sure. What else do you want to talk about? Is there anything that you want to say, and also let people know, of course, where they can find you, and just any message that you want people to know that as it relates to abundance and how they can create more success in the universe?
yeah, for sure. And we got, I could talk about this for hours. And so it's really my pleasure to come on and do this. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's that you learn something better and I'm sure you know this as well. You learn something better by having to teach it or explain it. Right. And so anyway, it sets in you when you try to go teach to another. They have that, it's sort of outdated, but that pyramid of learning, right? And at the top of it, the highest retention you have is from actually like teaching or talking about something or explaining it, right? Because you have to solidify all the thoughts in your head. But so anyway, love this conversation, this path we went down to. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about just sort of one of the most recent things we just worked on. Just came up with a technology to essentially try to secure early adopters of NFT projects, people who want to support artists, but do not want to fear about losing all of their money immediately, right? We talk about all of these scams and rug pulls. So what we did is we made a technology where the artist doesn't get all of their money up front, but really they get a set of drip payments going, and they get the secondary market value, secondary market transaction volume as well. So what that looks like is somebody purchasing an NFT or some digital art, or it could even be some physical art for, say, $100. They at any point could go redeem that art for that $100 back. And what this creates is insane demand from speculators or whoever, because all of a sudden that art could be worth $220,000, but you won't lose your principal investment. Right? The likelihood of losing your principal on that is very low. So anyway, there's a project. There's some really cool AI generated art associated with it too. You could go to movements.one.com. I did not do it justice. Let me tell you once again, working on some 1-minute videos to explain this new technology. It's bigger than NFTs, right? It's like if NFTs are very one-dimensional, it's like you buy the art and then you have a chance to resell it if somebody else wants to buy it. This creates a whole new dimension for NFTs, digital art, digital artists, and then a slew of other potential applications there as well. So anyway, movements.one, that's a website.
And we spell out one or the number one? Let's
Yeah,
spell it out for the folks.
.one. Yeah, movements.one. I'll send you the Twitter as well. And
Perfect. And we'll put that in the show notes as well, so you guys can check that out. And make sure you all are following Sam Borghese, following Zeal Reserve, tapped in with everything he has going on. If you're out in LA, gotta catch one of his events. So just stay tapped in. This is really exciting, man. I can't wait to see more about this technology. Me as an artist and an NFT artist, then this is definitely something that I'll be able to utilize too, because this is something I've actually thought about for a long time, is just how do we create more sustainability in the art market, in the NFT market specifically. So this is great.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'll definitely share some more information.
Cool. Well, yeah, we'll include your links in the show notes. Just want everybody to be reminded that you are a superstar and you can do anything. Keep the abundance mentality and reach out to somebody if you need help. I do want to acknowledge that this is Mental Health Awareness Month. And of course, we are advocates of everybody having a safe and healthy mental. This world that we are in can be challenging at times. The times can be trying. and economies can shift and things, but we have to love ourselves. We got to love other people, and we got to take care of our mental health. So I just want to acknowledge that. Everybody, if you need help, go talk to somebody. There's people out there that can help you if you feel like life's getting too much. If you need advice, if you're just trying to figure out how to get more sales on your e-com store, go talk to somebody. Like, don't let it stress you out. Just ask for help, like whatever it is, just reach out, find somebody on YouTube, DM somebody, just ask for help and keep asking until you get what you want, and take care. And again, love yourself. Any tips on mental health real quick before we get out of here, Sam?
Exercise and sleep. Exercise and sleep. Sleep, number one. The best thing you could do is wake up and go to bed same time every day. But anyway, exercise and sleep, mental health.
Oh, talk about the bedtime real quick though. Why is the bedtime important? Circadian rhythm, what
it sets up your body to know, right? A lot of people talk about blue light exposure and so forth. You look at the amount of lumens that come off a phone, it's like 4, right? It's like a measure of how bright something is. Inside this house is probably like, I don't know, 3,000, something like that. If I go outside, it's something like 60,000, right? So your phone light at night actually isn't, it's not what's keeping you up. It's the fact of being very inconsistent and not being physically tired at night and so forth. So, when I go to bed, I'm asleep within 2 minutes of sometimes like my earlobe hits the pillow and I'm out, right? Because of waking up at a similar time. My body's well aware, I could probably no alarm and no clock and go to bed, at similar time and wake up at a similar time. So anyway, it sets your body up to not confuse the hell out of it, right, all the time. So
I like that. Yeah, get your sleep, folks. Get your sleep, exercise. Make sure you're letting that sun hit your forehead and let your feet touch the grass.
Yeah.
Man, well, this is the first of many. This would be the first of many conversations. Me and Sam got big things coming. We're both working on amazing initiatives. We're going to do some things together. But make sure you are following Sam, following everything that he has going on, and supporting everything he has going on. Because Sam Borghese, you are uplifting the world, and you are creating a more abundant universe. So thank you for joining me on Abundance Universe today. I know all of our listeners are very grateful. And I just want to express that love and gratitude, man. I'm excited for our friendship and where it's going, and I'm excited to watch you and all your success.
Me as well, man. Thanks so much for having me.